tell us about your mistakes and in the innovation journey, how important it is to, mistakes are a part and parcel. So, and what mistakes have you made and what have you learned, and, share it with others.
No, I'll be the first to admit that I messed up multiple times in the past, right? And there's nothing hiding away from it, because, like you said, that's the way to learn. At the same time, I've been extremely fortunate to have, like I said earlier on, very good bosses, and with my entrepreneurial journey, great mentors from FI and through others, things that I've had the opportunity to learn from their mistakes or learn from the mistakes of other startups that they mentor and things like that. So obviously, my learning has been a little accelerated because of that, right? So here are my top 3 mistakes that I've done with my entrepreneurial journey, right? The first mistake, which is my first startup, right, was that I think even before I joined, I kind of jumped from Cognizant, quit my job, and I started to work on my startup called SMB Sure. I already had a solution in my head, right? I'd already committed to building a solution, right? I already knew these are the moving parts of the solution. This is the technology that I would use for the solution. This is how the interface will look like. This is what stakeholder A will do. This is what stakeholder B will do, and so on and so forth, right? So I had a prejudice towards a solution that I had in mind already. And in spite of being pointed out by many of the FI mentors, I kind of still resisted that to change the approach. And that, I would say, was the biggest mistake that I did with my first startup, is to kind of getting prejudiced and too attached to a solution too early, when you don't even know the problem at a subsequent, at a enough depth, right? So that's something I would say, right, is to not get not I mean, like somebody said to Ilayaraja, right, or to some other composer, right? When do you know this violinist has to play the tune, right? So that composer said that when that instrumentalist feels the weight of not being able to play for so long a time, is when they start playing, right? So the thing has to build up, right? The tense moment has to build up, and they say, hey, this is the right moment to start drawing and thing. So I think that applies to being an entrepreneur as well. So you should not get to the solution till the problem is haunting you so much that you know every piece of the problem, right? Like the hexagons behind me. You should have this clearly in your mind on the problem before you kind of write the first line of code, or create a website, or write a piece of document that describes your solution, right? And I didn't do this with my first startup, right? And that's my first mistake, right? Which I would want others not to repeat.
You have just a minute to, I think the mistakes can take us full time. So go ahead and share the other 2.
The second one was like launching too late, right? My first startup took 8 months and I didn't launch. The second startup took 2 days and I launched, right? And I had the first revenue coming in 2 days. So launch quickly, not wait for the perfect product to be there, but launch, right? The third mistake I would say, like once you've hired the right team, it's to understand that it is no longer just your dream. It's a collective dream now, and it's to trust your team and then let them also have a piece of this journey to be done their way, right? As an entrepreneur, you think it's your baby and you want everybody to handle your baby with care, right? And you fail to realize that it is no longer just your baby. It's a baby of your core team that's also trusted their careers with this idea, and it's to believe that now it's a common, it's a shared baby, and everybody has got equal say in how the baby grows. Is to kind of then, for that you have to start trusting your team, and let them also have a piece of the fun and make some mistakes. Don't be too, hey, don't do this, don't do that, this will not work, that will not work. I think that's something that I did earlier on with GoFloaters, and I've hopefully corrected that along the way.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Shyam. And it was very pleasant, inspiring. I'm sure now we all know as to why you are on Inspiring Innovators as in this show, right? And as a parting comment, as 3 tips or a few tips that you could give it to aspiring innovators, aspiring entrepreneurs, and aspiring entrepreneurs, that would be a fantastic gift to all our members. And I'm sure we should stay connected, and others should stay connected. You should probably tell how they could reach you out. So over to you. Some few tips that could be inspiring to others.
Right. So the first thing I would say is like innovation is not a big thing. You don't have to say, hey, this is not innovative, right? So any idea, like I said, challenges the status quo of the accepted theory that the world runs on. It could be small, it could be big. It's an innovation. So back yourself on that. Don't kind of say, hey, this is what is this? This is a small thing. Nobody will appreciate this. That's probably the wrong approach, I would say, right? So you don't have to, I mean, all of us don't have to be inventing the next light bulb, right? That's not the innovation, right? Every small incremental improvement that you do to this status quo is an innovation. So back yourself on that, number one. Number two, you can't be an introvert. An innovator has to build a lot of uh, uh, he has to build backers to the idea, right? You need people to kind of take your idea to light. You can't kind of single-handedly champion that, right? So be vocal about it. Raise it to people if you want it. You want to with your boss to say, I don't like this. This is not the way we should do it. We should do it this way, right? And back yourself with the confidence that you have and with the research that you've done on it. So be a little bit more vocal about what you do, right? Because you need to build momentum behind your idea by having more backers to it. Number three, test your idea as quickly as possible, right? And whatever that quick means to you, right? Quick should not be, in my opinion, quick should not be more than a month. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're a startup, then you should be able to test your idea out within a month of you having a good idea of what that is going to look like, right? If you're an entrepreneur, it could take longer because of the corporate structure, but test it quickly without being able to test the idea out. And without getting feedback, it's not an innovation any longer, and it's of no use to anybody. You could have the brilliant idea written down in the notebook. Nobody's going to kind of give you credit for that, right? And then it just kind of hit me sometimes that, hey, I thought about this 2 years back, and this bloody fellows implemented this and making millions from it, right? So, and you'll always kind of have that kind of feeling when you don't take that idea forward, right? I thought about this like a few years back. What's the use of that, right? So kind of go with back yourself up and go with your gut feeling. Yeah, mistakes will happen. You will have to take risks. You can't have a cushy job and a paycheck and everything and still be still do new things. So you will have to take risks at some point in time, whether you're an entrepreneur or an entrepreneur. So back yourself and take those calculated risks.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. That was so valuable. Reminds me of one of the quote that I've authored. A dream is a dream when you don't do anything about it. Right. A dream is a dream when you don't do anything about it. So you have to do, and these tips that you've given should help people to march forward, take that risk, and try new things, be it as an intrapreneur, as an entrepreneur, or as somebody who's passionate about innovation to bring about the change.